while you're here, don't forget to check out the xreport.net. I repeat, the xreport.net for exclusive sports content written by yours truly as well as fellow writers. All right, now it's time for one of my favorite parts of the show, mock draft time, where Malik and I are going to run through our mock drafts and discuss, say who we picked and where and why we did it. And just so you know, my mock draft is currently posted to the xreport.net. I repeat, the xreport.net. And hopefully soon Malik's will be posted there too. So just in case you don't hear ours well or you want to see the real full explanations as to why we made the picks we made, it'll be right on the website. So Malik, I'm gonna let you start off with your Cleveland Browns, number one. Who you got?
All right, Doc Pound, let's get this going. With the first pick in 2018 NFL Draft, the Cleveland Browns select Sam Darnold, quarterback, USC. I believe you get Sam Darnold. I believe he's the most ready out of all the quarterbacks. I like him. I think he's a leader. And I think you can't risk not getting him. You can't risk passing him up because you need a quarterback of the future. I like the pick of Sam Darnold going number one for the simple fact that he can sit behind Tyrod for a year or two if Tyrod doesn't get hurt. Well, Tyrod has a history of getting hurt. So let's hope for the best. But I got Sam Darnold going number one overall.
You and I do seem to agree to start off. I also said Sam Darnold going number one, but prior to this week, a lot of people, myself and Malik included, were thinking that Saquon Barkley would have been the best choice to go number one. But, as of now, they just signed Carlos Hyde to a big old deal. We just saw Sam Darnold's pro day, and he showed that he is one of the top passers in the draft. So you and I are in agreement. At number two, the New York Giants, I have them selecting running back Saquon Barkley from Penn State. Now, the reason why I have them going Saquon for a number of reasons. First of which being, Eli Manning's window is not much longer. We don't know how much longer he's going to play. He may have a season or two in them. So I feel like David Gettleman and Pat Shurmur, they're not going to want to just find someone to take care of the future in getting a quarterback. No. They want to win now. And in winning now, they bring in Saquon Barkley, who is undoubtedly the best running back in this class. You put that talent with the likes of Odell Beckham Jr., Sterling Shepard, Evan Ingram, and Eli Manning, and now Nate Solder to help protect Eli's blind side. Who's stopping them? I feel like their offense is going to be too much to handle, and they're going to need all the help they can get in the NFC East, especially since a lot of teams are starting to re-up on their defense and become more dominant. So I got them getting Saquon. They want to win now. Pat Shurmur, he just left the Minnesota Vikings as the OC in the NFC Championship. At the very least, he wants to make the playoffs.
Okay, well, this is the first time we disagree. I can see them going Saquon, but I got them picking Bradley Chubb. Unless they trade back and get a King's ransom for picks or something like that, I got them going Bradley Chubb. The reason was, at first I had them going Saquon, but with them trading Jason Pierre-Paul to Tampa, I can see them getting the pass rusher. I can see them getting younger and not having to pay all that money. Because, Jason Pierre-Paul signed a long-term contract last year, and I guess they felt like, okay, we could get a younger pass rusher, fresher, for cheap. And I can see them going after Bradley Chubb, defensive end, NC State. It would make sense to get Saquon Barkley to take some of the load off of Eli or whoever the hell else you have back there playing quarterback in the future. But with them making this move, I can see them going after Bradley Chubb. And this is a loaded running back class. So, they can get a running back in the later rounds and still have a quality starter. But with Saquon, I can't say I'm going to New York. Right now it's about 60-40, but I'm leaning towards Bradley Chubb. All right, with the third pick, who traded all the way up, is the New York Jets, and I got them selecting quarterback Josh Rosen. The reason why it's obvious, I believe they select Josh Rosen because, of course, Sam Darnold is not available, and they desperately need a quarterback. I'm banging and praying for Teddy Bridgewater to do good, but I still see them selecting Josh Rosen. What about you, Rage?
I said a Josh, but not Rosen. I have them getting Josh Allen out of Wyoming, and here's why. Here at the X Report, we love Bleacher Report. Bleacher Report is one of our favorite sports apps. That's where we get our goodies, that we get our little nuggets, when we need
Shout out.
yeah, when we need a little knowledge on the fly. And Bleacher Report has been saying this throughout the whole season. The Jets have loved Josh Allen. Absolutely loved him. Todd Bowles loved him. Everybody in that front office has loved him. And I feel like them trading up shows that faith in Josh Allen. I understand they do like Josh Rosen too. I mean, Josh Rosen is, in my opinion, the best passer, the most accurate passer in the class. Give him that. He has durability issues, but he's still a solid starter. But Josh Allen, we all watched the combine. We saw him throw 60, 70-yard passes at ease. We see what he can do. Now, I understand that his accuracy is still a bit of a question, but going to the Jets, I feel like is a good situation for him because like Malik said, Teddy Bridgewater is going to be there. We all hope that he has a healthy year at best, at least a healthy year. And then you also have Josh McCown there too. He's not going to be rushed to start. He can work on his accuracy, learns from veteran quarterbacks. I just think that Josh Allen, I'm not saying he's going to go there and instantly be a Pro Bowl or a Rookie of the Year candidate, but I think he'd be a good fit. Also, because they have so much faith in him. And I feel like if you really get the quarterback you want, you're going to nurture him better than just finding someone who you just think is all right. If you get someone that you've loved the whole regular season leading into draft season, you're going to care more. You're going to be more excited to teach him rather than like having a fallback guy. But all right, number 4, Cleveland Browns are on the board again. I have them selecting defensive back Minkah Fitzpatrick out of Alabama. And here's why. Like Malik said earlier, they did sign EJ Gaines, but they also signed Demarius Randall and TJ Carey and Terrence Mitchell. Of the names I just said, who puts fear in your heart? Who don't you want to pass it to? I'll answer that for you. No one. You're not worried about anybody. Whereas Minkah, though in college he primarily was a safety, they're looking at him more to play cornerback, which is okay because he does have the ball skills to do that. And if he doesn't work out as well as a corner, he can always go back to playing safety because he's liable to tackle. And I feel like the combination of him and Demarius Randall or him and Jabril Peppers, with whoever they decide to start, will be a lethal combination. They'll have a lot of young talent back there, and it'll be interesting to see. I think Cleveland has made a lot of moves offensively, and though they may need a couple more before the season starts, I feel like focusing on their defense is what's really going to make them a threat in the AFC.
Okay. Now this is when the dog pound. This is when Cleveland makes the dog pound very, very happy. Now that Cleveland has their quarterback, now it's time to get your playmaker. With the 4th pick, I got Cleveland selector Saquon Barkley, running back, Penn State. What more do I have to say? They got their quarterback in Darnold. The Giants passed up on him. Jets need a quarterback, so he slips down to 4. He doesn't get past 4. I see him and Carlos Hyde kind of switching up. I can see him as a first or second down back. And you bring Carlos Hyde in as a third down back. But you have to get the best player available at this position. And that's Saquon. You got to make your fans happy. You went 0-16. You got to make us happy. With this, I see Saquon going there. Welcome to Cleveland. Can't wait. But let's move on. With the 5th pick, we have the Denver Broncos. And now I have them selecting the other Josh. I have them selecting Josh Allen. Simply because the other 2 quarterbacks are off the board. And he's, the 3rd best quarterback in this draft. I can see him sitting behind Case Keenum and learning. I think they'll do a good job in developing him and not rushing him. He has a strong arm, the strongest arm out of all the quarterbacks in this draft. So I can see them getting their guy, Josh Allen, a guy of the future after Case leaves. But that's who I got going 5th. What about you?
I have them selecting guard Quentin Nelson out of Notre Dame. Now, I know guard is not the sexiest position in the world. Honestly, it's not even sexy to guards themselves. But when you're the Denver Broncos, who have now signed who they feel is going to be their quarterback for the season, they have their 2 best wide receivers still in tow. They have a solid, serviceable running back in C.J. Anderson. They have to fix that offensive line. And I feel like bringing in Quentin Nelson is going to help shore up that line. If you're going to re-sign, you're going to sign this quarterback, you got to protect him. And in protecting him, Quentin Nelson could come in. We all saw the tapes. He is a hog mauler. He is a big body guy who loves pancaking defensive linemen. He's quick to pancake. He's easily shown that he can clear up holes for tailbacks. I feel like it'd be a perfect fit. I do understand why Denver would want to have a backup plan, but I also feel like they may wait another year for that. They won't try to rush it. All right, number 6, Indianapolis Colts. If they do not decide to trade back down again, I think they're going to get defensive end Bradley Chubb. You know it. I know it. Their defense is rough. Does not have many pass rushing elements. Last year they did try to sign Jabal Sheard, hoping he would be the guy to start the pass rush. He wasn't it. I feel like Bradley Chubb can come in and give them a pass rush that we have not seen since the days of Robert Mathis and Dwight Freeney in their prime. Now I'm not saying he's any of those guys, but I feel like coming in as a rookie, anything less than 8 sacks would be a shocker. I think he's going to come in, instantly start, help that defensive out a lot. And since they've already started getting young pieces, I feel like they can just add to it. What about you?
Well, coach needs a lot of things. They need a quarterback. But you're right. They do need defensive help. But I got them going Quentin Nelson, Notre Dame. Whoever you have there at quarterback, especially this luck, you got to get that offensive line. Your team cannot score points, nor can you win games if your quarterback is on his back looking up at the ceiling. I believe they get guard. They need guard help. They need a lot of things. They need receivers. They need defensive. They damn near need a whole team. But I see them getting Quentin Nelson. I see them going guard here. Keep your so-called franchise quarterback safe. But yeah, I see them going Quentin Nelson, Notre Dame. Now you got 7th Tampa Bay on. You got the 7th Bay on the clock. 7th pick. Now surprisingly, I was 50-50 with this one because of the Browns pick, but I got Tampa selecting Minkah Fitzpatrick.
Mm-hmm.
They need cornerback help. Brent Grimes is old. Hargrave, he disappeared after a promising rookie season 2 years ago. He disappeared. They need safety help. But I can see them getting Minkah Fitzpatrick. Feels a need. Best defensive back on this year in the draft. You're going to need defensive back help because look at their division. You're playing Cam Newton. You're playing Drew Brees, Matt Ryan. Their targets. So you're going to need defensive back help. So after missing out on the Honey Badger free agency, I can see them getting Minkah Fitzpatrick. How about you, Ray?
Well, we were in the same positional group. I do have them getting a defensive back. But the defensive back I have them getting is Derwin James, safety out of Florida State. Now close your eyes and picture this. Derwin James and TJ Ward in the same defensive backfield. Do you know how much fun that would be to watch? 2 absolute thumpers with good ball skills aren't afraid to hit anybody. Tampa has been needing some hard hitters on that defense, especially in their secondary. I feel like Derwin would be that guy. Since they've kind of shored up their defensive line after trading for JPP and signing Vinny Curry, they don't have to stress getting a defensive lineman as much as right now. So right now they can focus on their secondary. And I thought about maybe Denzel Ward here, but they also already have 2 short corners in Vernon Hargraves and Brent Grimes. So Derwin James, you got a big body, you got a big man who is an enforcer. He is the true definition of an alpha male going to Tampa. He would be immensely fun to watch. Make Tampa a team to be afraid of, especially in the NFC South where you know all they like to do is throw, except in Carolina because they don't want to get Cam Newton any help. 8.
Hey.
It's okay.
We got Darius Wright. We got Torrey Smith. We got Greg Olsen. We got McCaffrey.
Y'all did.
Don't do it.
Yeah.
Leave that country alone.
Hey,
okay?
Hey.
We get on the Ravens receivers.
Oh, we can. We can. Oh, we can and we will. I can get on them all day. We got a whole show dedicated to it. But all right, 8. Chicago Bears, I have them selecting cornerback Denzel Ward out of Ohio State. I just mentioned him like 10 seconds before. Denzel is what many draft scouts consider a more athletic version of first round pick and defensive rookie of the year, Marshawn Lattimore. If you watch this play, though he's 5'10", he plays like he's 6'1". He's a physical, scrappy corner who isn't afraid to line up against a soul, and I feel like in Chicago, playing in the NFC South, he's gonna have NFC North, sorry. He's gonna have to line up and be that big body guy. Chicago, normally I have them taking a receiver, usually Calvin Ridley. But since they did sign Allen Robinson and Taylor Gabriel, they don't necessarily need to focus on a receiver right now. They can focus on their secondary.
All right, with the number 8 pick, since the Bears already, they got their cornerback, they feel like in Fuller. They got their cornerback, they got their wide receiver in Robinson. I see them getting inside linebacker Raekwon Smith, Georgia. They haven't really had an inside linebacker that's been good since the newly Hall of Famer Brian Urlacher. They need linebackers. They need somebody inside that can stop the run. And that's my boy Raekwon Smith. I think he's the best linebacker in this draft. That's just my opinion. I know Raven might disagree, but I see them going Raekwon Smith, Georgia. Now, with the 9th overall pick, 49ers, I got them selecting Denzel Ward. We know they just signed Richard Sherman, but they still need help. Now, close your eyes. Can you imagine Richard Sherman on one side, Denzel on the other side? Denzel Ward in this draft has been called the best cover corner out of all prospects. Now, can you imagine that? Him and Sherman on each opposite sides, it's like, man, who you gonna throw to? Who you gonna throw to? So I can see them going there, getting him, solidifying their defensive backfield. But what about you?
All right, for the 49ers, and I'll just say this right quick. I do like that. Comp. I would like Denzel and Sherman in the same defensive back. That'd be a nice little secondary. I mean, who better to learn how to play corner from than Richard Sherman? That'd be a great mentor to have. But I got them going linebacker here. Tremaine Edmonds from Virginia Tech. Now, I'll agree with you. A lot of people think that Tremaine is the best linebacker in this draft. I don't think he's the best, but I think that he has the opportunity to be the most explosive. The 49ers, for the past 3 drafts, they spent their first picks on defensive linemen. They just signed Richard Sherman. Of course, they could use another safety, but there's none right here that you're willing to take at number 9, especially with Fitzpatrick and James gone. So what do? You work on the middle of your defense, and linebacker is the way they go. Tremaine Edmonds, he's a young guy. He's young. By the time the season starts, he's only going to be 20 years old. That's crazy. He's going to be young. He's going to be hungry. Pairing him up with such a dynamic defense, that front 7 is going to be really, really fun to watch. And I think that he'd be a great complementary piece to it. All right. Oakland Raiders with the 10th overall pick. I have them reaching a bit for cornerback Mike Hughes from UCF. The reason why I say reaching a bit is because Mike Hughes is a very solid corner. He's 5'11". He's very physical. If you watch him play in the AAC in games against teams such as Memphis, which is the school I go to, go Tigers, you saw that he was unafraid to line up against any and everyone. He got 4 picks this past season. He does have a couple of character issues after having to transfer from North Carolina to come to UCF, but we saw what he could do in a full season. If you look at who the Raiders' starting cornerbacks will be right now, if you start the season, it's Gary and Conley, first-round pick from last year, and newly signed Rashawn Melvin from Indianapolis. They need corners. And Mike Hughes is a big body guy, and John Gruden loves physical cornerbacks. We all know this. And bringing in Mike Hughes, he'd be a great compliment. I'm sure he would still have his woes. He'd mess up a little bit, but as the season went on, I think he'd show up to be one of the best DBs, young DBs in the league.
All right, Ray. So I'm going to have to take your pick that you took for the 49ers. And I say the Ravens get Tremaine Edmonds, Virginia Tech. Can you imagine Bruce Irvin, Khalil Mack, Tremaine Edmonds, your linebacker core, with the Raiders? I think they need an inside linebacker. I think Khalil on the outside, Irvin on the outside. Had this man inside, you're not running that ball. You're definitely not running the ball. And it just brings a toughness that, the Raiders need. It's a toughness. That's a move I think they'll go out there and get. I would like to see that. Like you said, he's not the best linebacker, but he has potential. He is young. But I can see him in the black and silver. That's a tough. Yeah, you better do that, Raiders. But with the 11th pick, Miami was confusing to me. I kind of battled back and forth between quarterback and D tackle, or D lineman. I think they get the D lineman from Washington, Vita Vea. After losing to Ndamukong Suh, they got a big old hole right there that they need to fill.
Huge hole.
They need pressure. Like, they have to get pressure. They need pass rushers in general. They need a quarterback. But I guess they still believe in Tannehill. Yeah, I can see them going defensive lineman here. It's not a sexy pick, but, it's something that they need after losing out on Suh.
I like Vita. I like Vita Vea a lot. But, I think that this pick is now just null and void after them signing the best quarterback of all time, Brock Osweiler. And they didn't even have to pay him $72 million. But still, something in me says they might decide to get a quarterback. And the quarterback I think they may look at is Josh Rosen out of UCLA. Now, sure, not many people think he's going to be sitting on the board at 11, but hear me out. Matt Moore is a free agent, but even when he was there, he showed he's not a capable starter. Ryan Tannehill has problems staying on the field, and Jay Cutler is, in fact, Jay Cutler. Josh Rosen, like I said previously, is one of the most accurate quarterbacks, if not the most accurate quarterback in the draft. Sure, he has a couple durability issues of his own, but you can tell that he's willing to fight whenever he is on the field. He's one of the best competitors in the league. And I know some coaches may be a little sparse on him, may think that his character is a little iffy. But if you actually watch him play and hear what his teammates say about him, it speaks volumes to the type of guy he is. Now Buffalo, with the 12th overall pick, they get their quarterback of the future. I understand they just signed A.J. McCarron to a 2-year, $10 million deal. Incredibly cheap. But they get their quarterback in Baker Mayfield from Oklahoma. Hear me out. Baker may not have to start day one, but when he starts, he doesn't have to worry about having to throw the ball 40 times a game. Why is that? Because they still got Shane McCoy in the backfield. Now, if they keep the 12th overall pick, which I think would be the best thing for them to do, they still have a boatload of picks after trading with the Kansas City Chiefs last year. So they're going to have an extra second and an extra third. You can work on getting more receivers because right now we don't know what's going on with Zay Jones. We don't know what's happening with that or Kelvin Benjamin. They need to get more weapons. So I think that they start off right now with the 12th pick, getting Baker, and then they come back in the 22nd pick and another player who we'll talk about later.
All right, for the second time, since this first round we agree, I have Buffalo getting Baker Mayfield also. Like you said, he doesn't have to start off starting. He doesn't have to, throw for 4,000 yards. But I like the guy. He's a winner. And that's something that Buffalo needs. Tyrod took him last year, but I think this guy can take him even farther. Baker Mayfield is a winner. He's a competitor. He has that fire about him. Something that they haven't had since Jim Kelly. He's tough. I know a lot of people say he's on the short side, but he's actually almost like a little bit under 6'1", maybe. But I can see this guy going to Buffalo. I think Buffalo embraced this dude. So they get their quarterback in the future. With the 13th pick, I got the Washington Redskins going corner. Got them getting Josh Jackson out of Iowa. They just lost Rashad Breeland. They don't really have a good cover corner besides Josh Norman. I can see them getting them here. Now that'll be a good duo. So you need corners in that division. Because you're dealing with Odell Beckham, Sterling Shepard. Then you got the Eagles with all their weapons they got over there. You know what I'm saying? Then you got the Cowboys. Yeah, we're not worried about the Cowboys, but you need corners. So I got them going after Josh Jackson to replace Rashad Breeland. And going to the other side with Josh Norman. I think he can learn from Josh Norman. And I think that'll be a pretty good duo. How about you, Ray?
This is where I see Roquan Smith going. Give him a little extra pass rushing element. Since Trent Murphy is gone. Of course, they have Ryan Kerrigan, still one of the better and underrated linebackers in the league, but Roquan Smith would give them a little extra to their defense. They could use it. Now, I understand the thought process behind the corner. I did battle a lot with giving them a corner here, but I just thought that right now they feel like their pass rush should be a little bit more important, but I do understand where the corner concept is coming from. I understand it so much so that we were almost at the same spot, because for Green Bay, I selected them getting cornerback Josh Jackson out of Iowa. Now, he didn't have the sexiest or the best combine of corners, but he still had a pretty solid one. Wasn't bad, and that combine isn't going to erase the 8 interceptions he had in his junior season. Now, I understand they did just draft Kevin King last season, and he did battle through injury, so I'm interested to see what he does when he's healthy as a full-time starter. But they do need that element. They need someone who can create turnovers and make plays for them. And I feel like Josh Jackson can do that. He plays faster than he looks on his 40. Just watch his play. He's very feisty. He isn't afraid to line up against your best guy. And I feel like they're going to need that tenacity to start the season off.
I think we agree as far as that Green Bay need defensive help. But I got Green Bay getting defensive lineman Marcus Davenport. I think the guy is a project. I think he needs a lot of work. I think he can be a hybrid linebacker / defensive end. But I think Green Bay gets to their they need defensive help. They need outside linebackers. I believe you can move Clay Matthews into the inside and have this man play outside. So I think he's a boost to their defense. That's not a bad spot at Forte for him. He's one of the best defensive linemen in this draft. But like I said, he's a project. He can be a linebacker or is he a DN? So I can see him going there. Now, this is the next thing.
Wait, before you go, I just want to say, I swear, for the longest, I had him there. Like, a last-minute change made me take him out, but usually I have Marcus going there. But they just signed Muhammad Wilkerson, which was just like, okay, they don't necessarily need him right now. I just had to add that tidbit in there. Like, I swear, we were almost on the same wavelength. Almost there. But all right, go ahead. Come back with 15.
Yeah, they got Muhammad Wilkerson, but like I said, they can have him play linebacker. He can be an outside linebacker and also a rotational player and defensive end, but you can have him stand up and have Clay move on the inside. So like they did with Julius Peppers.
Right.
But number 15, Arizona Cardinals. With Arizona here, you better draft the quarterback because if Sam Bradford is your starter, you for a long season. But I got them going after the most electrifying quarterback in college football, Lamar Jackson. I believe he's the best quarterback available at this point. I think he will give Arizona a spark. I think he'll bring dynamic playmaking ability to Arizona and to pair that with Larry Fitzgerald. The reason why I'm saying it now because we know Sam Bradford is not going to stay healthy, and if they draft him, he's going to be the backup, so he's going to start. It would be nice if Bradford plays a whole season and the cat can kind of learn the ropes and get better with his mechanics. But I see the Arizona giving Lamar Jackson here. They'll be foolish not to. Plus, they'll probably have some plays designed for him. They'll have some packages designed for him, some Wildcats. But I believe they get quarterback Lamar Jackson from Louisville. Raymond, how about you?
I understand where you're coming from about Sam Bradford. I swear I do. I wouldn't trust him with half a ham sandwich. But if you're going into that season, signing Sam Bradford and signing Mike Glennon, the least you can do is get him some help. And I feel like that help is going to come in the form of Calvin Ridley, wide receiver from Alabama. The reason why I say this is because Larry Fitzgerald, as amazing as he is, he cannot play forever. And he has shown that he is the most adaptable wide receiver in the league. No other receiver has had to play with this much buffoonery at the quarterback position. And if you can find me one who has done it for this long and still been one of the best wide receivers in history, I'll give you $20. But no, Calvin Ridley comes in. He can learn from Larry Fitzgerald and grow. He can be the number 2 guy this year and then elevate to the top spot in a year or so. Get him some acclimation. I understand you don't trust Sam Bradford. I don't either, but at least give him somebody to work with. At least give him a dynamic playmaker. We saw he could get over 900-plus yards with Jalen Hurts as his quarterback at Alabama and a predominantly run offense. Give him a quarterback who is a pocket passer. They have a semi-decent offensive line in Arizona. Now, this isn't to say it's going to keep Sam Bradford upright, but at least give him some time to look his receivers open. Let's have Calvin really do some damage in the NFC West. All right, time. My Baltimore Ravens. Oh, gosh, Ozzie Newsome. If you're listening to me, listen, okay? Listen hard. We draft with the 16th overall pick, wide receiver Christian Kirk out of Texas A&M. Yes, we did just sign John Brown. Yes, we did just sign Michael Crabtree. Do we still need a receiver? Yes, we do. Look. I like Michael Crabtree. He showed that he can be productive. John Brown, when he's healthy, he's one of the best deep threat options. However, we need a player who can make plays consistently. We need a player who does not take games off. If you want a player like that, Christian Kirk is your guy. He should be my guy. He should be a Raven, okay? At 5'11", he plays bigger than his size. He's a huge playmaker. You saw what he did with Kellen Mond, quarterback at Texas A&M, who, if you are a college football fan, you know that's not much to write home about. He was a great guy, and not only was he explosive in the passing game, he was even better as a special teamer. We also need a special teamer because Michael Caprano is a free agent. It doesn't look like we're going to re-sign him. Bring Christian Kirk in. Let him show you what a smaller guy can do. I'm excited to see what he can do with Joe Flacco. Hopefully he can open up Joe Flacco's passing a little bit. He could be our slot guy because we do have a secret affinity for slot receiver. So let's bring him in. Let's see what he can do for us.
All right, Raven. With the 16th pick, we agree that they should get a wide receiver, but it's not Kirk. I got them taking Calvin Ridley. I know you're probably not happy about that, but I got them taking Calvin Ridley. To me, he's not a number 1 in the NFL. But he's better than anything the Ravens have had.
Then why would you give us a receiver who's not potentially a number 1? I need number 1 options in Baltimore, okay?
We know, but he's been rated one of the best receiver in this draft, so I believe that he's the first receiver off the board, and I do see Baltimore as his spot. Now, he may prove me, you, and everybody else wrong. He might go to Baltimore, and he might fall the hell out, but I believe that the Ravens are going to get him. I can't see them letting him slip. But yeah, he's proven, like you said, in a run-heavy offense that he can make plays, that he can catch the football. He's a little older as a prospect, which is kind of good. You don't have to worry about maturity issues. So I just see them going in. But with the 17th pick, you got the Chargers. The Chargers are almost like the Chargers are a complete team almost. You know, I have to really look at their roster to see what they need. You know, I'm going to say Los Angeles, and this is not a sexy pick by any means, it never is. But I think y'all got to give Philip Rivers some help. I mean, some protection. And I see y'all going Connor Williams, offensive tackle, Texas. Y'all need more help in the passing game, and another blocker can help for Ingram for y'all running back. So I see y'all going offensive tackle. I know it's not sexy. You guys got wide receivers. Your defense is okay. I just think that line needs to be shored up. You know, I don't think they're bringing Barksdale back. So I'd like to see them going after Connor Williams, Texas.
Okay. I like that. I was with you that it should be somebody in the trenches. It's just a different kind of line. I got them getting defensive tackle Vita Vea from Washington. Don't get me wrong. Corey Lugent and Brandon Mebane were solid for them. Very solid in the middle of the defensive line. But you also have to understand they want to add some more to it. Now, of course, they would have loved to get a safety here, but like I previously stated, there are no other safeties that you're taking right now. Bring in Vita Vea. He gives you a pass rushing element. He was a Pac-12 Defensive Player of the Year, and he's a lot of fun to watch. He can take over for Lugent or Mebane, or even just come in as a rotation role if you really need him to be. And just imagine a defensive line with him and Joey Bosa and Melvin Ingram on the other side. I just think that'd be almost too much for offensive linemen to handle. I think it'd be a very fun combination. But at 18, for the Seattle Seahawks, I have them getting offensive tackle Mike McGlinchey from Notre Dame. McGlinchey is widely regarded as the best offensive tackle in this draft, and though the Seattle Seahawks have had a lot of turnover over the course of this season, I think that they still need to make their prime focus protecting Russell Wilson. You can't keep letting Russell Wilson get hit. You got to add more players to this offensive line if you expect him to stay upright. As good as Russell Wilson is, he cannot be your saving grace. He cannot be your only option, and it's only made worse if you don't help him. Now, he doesn't scramble as much as he used to. He's more so in the pocket, and because he's more so in the pocket, you have to have someone to protect him. McGlinchey can come in, easily take over the blind side, show you for the first time in what seems like forever what it feels like in Seattle to have a premier blind side line left tackle. He can come in, instantly start from day one, alleviate a lot of stress, and then you can use your later picks to focus on potentially a late round running back, definitely another corner, a safety. Focus on your other needs, but right now, protect your quarterback. Keep him clean.
Okay, I agree with you. When it comes to Seattle, they definitely need to give Russell Wilson some help, and they definitely need to keep him clean, but in a different way. I got them getting Russell Wilson a weapon. I got them getting wide receiver Courtland Sutton from SMU. They really need another receiver besides what they have. Baldwin is the best receiver, but they need another target. They just lost Jimmy Graham, free agency, Ronnie Hickson, but yeah, they need another target for him. They can go a lot of different ways here. They need some offensive line help. Like you said, they need a running back, but they can get that later on in the draft. It's a deep draft. I see them getting a playmaker. I see them getting Courtland Sutton. He's tall, he's physical. I believe that with him being Russell Wilson another target, that the people won't be double teaming Baldwin or focusing on Baldwin all the time. So I see them getting Courtland Sutton, SMU. But now with the 19th pick, you got I hate this team. You got the Dallas Cowboys. Sorry, Cowboys fans, but I hate your team. With Dallas, I got them getting Darwin James, safety, Florida State. They definitely need defensive backup. There's no secret. Their corners are not bad, but they were rookies last year. I do think they'll be better in year two because they have a year under their belt. I had them going corner for a minute, but I looked at my mock and I see Darwin James there, so I got them getting Darwin James. He's a playmaker. He's physical. He's an improvement over anything that you've had. So I see the Star State doing that move. What about you, Aves?
You know, you just said my guy just with the wrong team. I have them getting wide receiver Courtland Sutton here. Even though they did just sign Allen Hurns. Mind you, this mock draft came out Tuesday night, everybody. So it's a little out of date, but that's the fun thing about mock drafts. You always got to make a new one. But I still feel like Courtland Sutton will be the guy here. I mean, he's 6'4", 216 pounds, and he's a Texas native. So that means he's been watching Cowboys his whole life. Especially with all the uncertainty going on with Dez Bryant, you don't know what's going to happen with him. And still, Allen Hurns, he's good, but you don't really know what all he can be. Courtland Sutton can come here, and even if he's not your number one guy, he can still be an option. You're trying to build around Dak Prescott, give him more weapons. This is the perfect opportunity to do it. I do like the Derwin James pick, but I already had him going to Tampa. Had he been around, I would be shocked to see Dallas not pound the table to get this guy. But all right, before I say who I'm picking for Detroit, do you know what a quarterback's best friend is?
Offensive lineman.
Nah, not an offensive lineman.
A running back?
Yes, it is. And the best friend that Detroit is going to get is running back Darius Geis from LSU. Go Tigers. Matthew Stafford, for the past 3 years, after he stopped becoming such a loose cannon with the ball, he has been on the cusp of being great. He's literally right next to the door. He's been knocking on it for a season or two now. Giving him Darius Geis is what's going to make him plow through the door and say, hey, everybody, my name is Matthew Stafford, and I am a great quarterback. Matthew Stafford has been without a top running back option since he's been in the league. His last 100-yard rusher was Reggie Bush. Who else remembers when Reggie Bush was a Lion? Not many people do. Bringing in Darius Geis showed at LSU he could be a number one guy, even with a piss-poor quarterback situation. In Detroit, the situation at quarterback is far from being piss poor. Him coming in, Matthew Stafford doesn't have to worry about throwing the ball 40 times a game. They have a pretty good offensive line who can create holes from him. He's getting better at catching the ball out of the backfield. Bringing guys in adds another element to that offense, makes them more fearful, and makes them way less one-dimensional, which they have been lacking for years. Matt Patricia, he's a defensive-minded guy. He just gave the franchise tag to Ziggy Ansah, so he does not have to stress as much about finding a defensive lineman. Bring in Darius Guy, see that offense progress, and show how great Matthew Stafford can be when he has some help.
All right, you know what else is a quarterback's best friend?
Offensive line?
No, his defense. That way he'll have to score a bunch of points. I see them going after Daron Payne, defensive lineman, Alabama. Like you said, Matt Patricia is a defensive mind. They just gave Ziggy Ansah the franchise tag. Why not get Daron Payne? Go up the middle, stop the run. You got a run stuffer. You got someone that can also get pressure. Like I said, I think they're going to run it back here, but you can get a running back in the second round. Your second, third rounds, like you said, this is a loaded draft when it comes to running backs, which I'm surprised the running back is coming back now. But I got them getting him. I like them in Alabama. He's strong. They need much need help in the middle. Like Haloni Nada is gone. They haven't had an inside presence since the Dominican Sue. So I can see, and they need more pass rushers besides Ansah. So I can see them getting him here. With the 21st pick, the trade from Buffalo, the pick from Buffalo, I got Cincinnati getting Rashad Evans, another Alabama Road Tide linebacker, actually. We don't know what's going to happen with Burfict, but he's suspended, I think, the first 4 games, and the guy is about one more hit away from being out of the league. I think they need a linebacker. They got to have a linebacker. They need a lot of things. They need an offensive lineman. Because their line is trash. It's trash. Cincinnati's line is trash. They let people walk in free agency last year. They lost their player to the Cleveland Browns. They also lost a player to the Rams. I have to figure out the names.
Andrew Whitworth went to the Rams, and then I want to say it was Zettel that went to the Browns.
Went to the Browns, yeah. So yeah, thank you. Offensive help, but their defense, man, you gotta have defense to stop it because you're playing the Ravens. They have a pretty cool offense. The Steelers, we know what they are, and even the Browns, my team, offense has now become more dangerous. So you're gonna need a linebacker, and I say Rashad Evans. That's a good pick for him here. How about you, Ray?
We got the same position, just not the same guy. Not a lot of people are talking about this guy right here, but I'm telling you, April 26th, when the draft rolls around, he's going to be talked about. And this guy right here is linebacker Leighton Vander Esch from Boise State. If you don't know him, look him up, folks. He's a fun player to watch.
I got him coming down in my draft. I know him.
He is a lot of fun. Now, if you guys didn't know, Vontaze Burfict is going to be facing a 4-game suspension for a repeat suspension. But we also know that he's a sometimes overly hard hitter who, like Malik was saying, is one hit away from being out of the league. You need a clean-cut, productive prospect who you can trust with the middle of your defense, and I feel like Leighton is that guy. I would like Rashaan Evans here, but it's okay. I'm coming up later. He could come. Leighton is I'll admit, his college career was up and down, but in his full season as a starter, he showed what he can do for the blue and orange. He's easily, let's be honest, after offensive line, linebacker is their next biggest need. The reason why I didn't go offensive line like I normally do is because they did also trade for Cordy Glenn, which got them to the 21st pick. So he should be coming in to protect Andy Dalton's blind side. But no, Leighton will be my guy here. Get a linebacker, clean cut, productive. Don't have to worry about him getting out in all this trouble. Number 22, pick 22, Buffalo Bills with their second pick of the first round. How about getting some more defensive ends on that team, okay? Marcus Davenport out of UTSA. Now, I know a lot of people are probably shocked that I have him going this far, but bear with me. The Bills were horrible, atrocious at getting sacks last year. You don't believe me? Look at the sacks. Look at the stats. Bringing him in, you can put him on a defensive line along with Shaq Lawson, second-year man out of Clemson. Third-year man, sorry. And also Star Latulippe and Kyle Williams. He'll have a lot of pieces to learn through. If necessary, you can move him out to linebacker because they could use extra bodies. Marcus Davenport, even if all else fails, you still have a guy who can at least get you about 4 or 5 sacks, which is better than they had last year. Their defense seems to be in flux. We don't really know what they're doing. The best pieces that they have are in their secondary. But if you're not getting any pass rush, a corner cannot cover a wide receiver for over 10 seconds, which has been happening in Buffalo. Get a pass rusher, show you what you can do.
Alrighty. Well, with the 22nd pick, we got the Buffalo pick. They got from Kansas City. Early in the mock, we both had them getting Baker Mayfield. So they got their guy. Now it's time to give us protection. I got them getting Isaiah Wynn, from Georgia. Like you said, they do need defensive line help, but I think that's the reason why they got Latulippe. He already helped you so much, and I do think that this is a good draft when it comes to defensive end. So I do believe they're addressing in the second and third round. But you got to get you guys some help. Tyrod got pressured a lot last year. You got to get us some help, man. If you got your guy, whether it's McCarron or whether it's Baker Mayfield, you got to give us protection. So Isaiah Wynn, guard Georgia. All right, with the 23rd pick, we got the Los Angeles Rams, and this was a hard one because the Rams need a linebacker, man. It's funny, I don't have them getting a linebacker here, but they need a linebacker. I think the Rams play to their strength. I think the Rams get a defensive lineman. I think they get Harold Landry, Boston College defensive lineman. Why? Because they don't have Robert Quinn. They traded Robert Quinn away to the Dolphins. But he was a linebacker last year anyway. But he's someone that can put his hand in the dirt. I think they're playing to their strengths. I think they can have a good rotation going. So yeah, I got him going. Harold Landry. I mean, that was a hard one. Like I said, I had them going linebacker, but I got Harold Landry, defensive lineman, Boston College.
You and I we on the same wavelength today. I don't know what it is, because I also got them getting edge rusher Harold Landry. We saw what he can do when he was healthy in his junior season. He decided to come back for his senior season, was riddled with injuries, finished the year with, 6 sacks, 5, 6 sacks. Not bad for an injury-riddled player who also was forced to come with double teams every snap. I like Harold Landry. He may have wanted to go higher, but look at the situation he's going to be placed in. He's going to be coached by the best defensive coordinator in the league, Wade Phillips, play alongside Aaron Donald, and have the chance to be on one of the teams in the league, not even team, league's premier defenses. Because not only do you get to rush the passer with Aaron Donald and potentially Ndamukong Suh, but you also have Marcus Peters and Aqib Talib in your secondary. I feel like he'd be a perfect complement, and he would get a lot of opportunity because everyone will be so focused on what Aaron Donald is doing. Bring in Harold Landry. The Rams defense just got scarier. I would be the first to say they'll have the scariest defense in the NFC West and arguably have the scariest in the NFC as a whole. But now to your Carolina Panthers.
Big Cat Country. Superman Town.
Yeah.
Metropolis.
Yeah.
Let's go. Metropolis.
I got them going after cornerback Jair Alexander from Louisville.
I had that. Go ahead.
You want to hear a number that got him in this position that solidified his first round status?
Go ahead. Lay it on me.
4.38. This man ran a 4.38 40 time at the combine. Now, sure, his final season as a Louisville Cardinal was riddled with injuries, but the season before, he picked off 5 passes. We know that the Panthers are thirsty for a cornerback after the Bashaud Breeland deal falling through. They need someone to come in. Jair Alexander can come in and be that guy. You need scrappy, tough cornerbacks if you're going to play in the NFC South. You got to go up against Mike Evans, Julio Jones, Michael Thomas, 6 times, all of them combined. 6 times in a season. That's not going to be easy to do. You have cornerbacks on this team. You have experienced DBs such as Mike Adams. You have a Luke Kuechly in your linebacking core. You still got Julius Peppers up front. But you need a cornerback who can make plays, someone you can trust. James Bradberry has been fine so far as a Panther, but you need someone who's going to be better than fine. You need someone who's going to be great. Jair Alexander, long as he's healthy, I believe that he can make plays. I believe that he can be great.
Big Cat Country. Metropolis. The home where Superman lays his head. This one was hard for me because I had to get Jair Alexander. I really want them to get him. Like, everything Raven said, she nailed it on the head with him. But you got Christian McCaffrey. You can't keep lining him up in the slot. You're going to eventually get hurt. And teams are going to know where you're going with the ball and you line him in the slot. This is why, on my sheet, I have them getting Christian Kirk. But since they just signed Jerry's right, I'm gonna change it to Jair Alexander.
Yeah.
For every reason Ravens just nailed, you need to get a scrappy corner. You need a scrappy corner. Ever since you lost Josh Norman, we haven't had a scrappy corner. Josh Norman may not be the best corner, but he's good at talking smack and he's good at getting in your head. And I think that's what you need. James Bradberry's too quiet. You know, he's an okay corner. He'll give up plays. He'll bend but not break. But you need an elite corner. And I believe this dude, Alexander, could be an elite corner that we need. So I had Christian Kirk with them signing Jerry's right and giving him that money. He's out slot. Funches is on the outside. You got Torrey Smith, you brought him in. I can't see Kirk, unless you want to bring him in to be a backup, which I don't think you waste a first round pick for someone to sit on the bench. So I see them getting Alexander. It feels a need. So I see them getting Alexander. Now, Kirk is available in the second round. No, you pull that trigger, but you need a running back too. So I got to get Alexander.
There we go.
All right. With the 25th pick, you got the Tennessee Titans. It's another team I'm not fond of. But they do have weapons now. Maybe not the best of weapons, but they have weapons. Like a stick or a rock or something. Not a gun or a knife. With them, I see them get some protection straight up the middle for Marcus Mariota. I see them going after Billy Price. Center. Not a sexy pick, but center from Ohio State. He can also play guard, and he need any help on the offensive line. I mean, I know they have Pro Bowlers on the line, but you can never get enough protection for your quarterback who already runs entirely too much. Is going to get hurt. That's been hurt. But the last thing you need is the inside of your line collapsing and him getting pancaked. So I see them getting Billy Price. Right?
All right. See, you and I, we get real similar. We just don't hit the same target. I also have them getting an interior lineman, but it's a defensive lineman. I got them getting defensive tackle Deron Payne from Alabama. Now, for anybody who watched the college football playoff last year, you can't tell me a more dominant defensive player in the whole of everyone, more so than Deron Payne. That man was everywhere. He shows you he was a run stuffer to the finest. He could pass rush if you need him to. He's a big, strong space eater. Not much more we can really say about him. I mean, we already talked about it. Just another quick thing to add. Since Dean Pease, former Ravens defensive coordinator, is going to be down there, You know he loves the big boys. He loves linebackers too, but he really loves the big boys. He's going to be clamoring to get a play like that. And they also have Mike Verbill, who's their head coach, was the DC down in Houston. It'll be interesting to see how many defensive players they decide to add to try to make them more formidable. But Deron Payne will be the pick here. All right, pick 26, Atlanta Falcons. I have them getting defensive end Arden Key from LSU. Many people seem to forget this, but 2 seasons ago, Vic Beasley led the league in sacks. Now, of course, this following year, he suffered through injuries. He fell off a bit. And their leading sacker, Adrian Claiborne, who, mind you, of his 9 sacks, 6 of them came against the Cowboys when Tyron Smith wasn't starting, but I'll leave that there, is no longer with the team. He's with New England. Sure, they just drafted Takk McKinley last year, finished the year with 6 sacks. Not a bad year at all. But you're going to want more. And they're also, since they're moving Vic Beasley out to outside linebacker, they're going to need more presence on the defensive line. Arden Key, even though his last season at LSU came with a bunch of questions, some teams are even contemplating if he's worth a first-round pick. If you see what he can do when he's on, he's the best player on the field by far. You don't really know what you're going to get out of Key, but I feel like the closer he gets to the draft, the more he's going to have opportunities to show how serious he is about the game. And him coming in, he could come in and be one of your stars. They need more stars because they have plenty of great young talent. Keanu Neal, safety, linebacker Deion Jones, former LSU man. I feel like those guys can help whip him into shape, help him get better acclimated to being in the NFL.
All right, that's not a bad pick. Not a bad pick, right? So I think we're on the same thing here, but just different people. With the 26th pick, I think Atlanta gets one of the steals of the draft. Atlanta selects Maurice Hurst, defensive lineman, Michigan. If he's healthy, if he clears to play, oh, that's a steal. That's a steal.
Which he has been cleared to play. He got cleared late this past week.
Oh, well, that's a steal. I haven't checked ESPN, but that's a steal. I see him getting the guy to play. I believe, like you said, with the linebacker core that they have and the defensive backs that they have, why not add a pass rusher to get some pressure on Cam, get some pressure on Breeze and Winston and Ryan? You know what I'm saying? Well, not Ryan, that's their quarterback, but still get pressure on him in practice. But I can see them getting him here. I have the guy that you had picked, but I let him go. He went in the early round than what I had chosen. But I see Maurice Hurst. Now, I really don't like throwing my defense. I really don't like throwing my rivals, Atlanta and New Orleans. But with the 27th pick, you got New Orleans. And I think they get somebody else that can terrorize Cam. I think they get Taven Bryan, defensive lineman, Florida. I think defensive line is their biggest need they need to address. At that time, I think Taven Bryan is the best defensive lineman on the board. He used to be their defensive backs. If they don't sign Kenny Vaccaro back, I believe they do need a safety. But I do believe that their corners are set. The linebacker corners, they're okay. I think they need more pass rush. I think that was a weak point of their team last year. So I can see them getting Taven Bryan. Right?
Before I say my pick, I disagree about them needing safeties because, the reason why they were comfortable with letting Kenny Vaccaro go is because they did have Von Bell. They got Marcus Williams. They're secondary.
Don't mention their name on this broadcast to New Orleans people. Are you crazy?
Sorry. But
are you crazy?
I'm sorry. My apologies. Just saying, I think they're okay.
I personally enjoyed it because New Orleans, they took out my team, the Panthers, so it kind of was like, ha.
But prior to that bad play, he was having a phenomenal rookie year. Marcus Williams, if you ever listen to this, me, Raven X, I'm a huge supporter for you. I'm excited to see what else you're doing in the league. All right.
I'm excited. I'm happy for you. Man. I'm glad you missed the tackle. You against Carolina. Tackle like that again. Please, just when you're going for a tackle, just dive extra early. So that way, so we can leap, fall over you, and run for, an 80-yard, 40-yard touchdown. But, boy, that was my play of the year, man. I'm going to go watch that movie, too. That was funny.
Sorry. I'm sorry, New Orleans fans. I promise this was not intended, I swear. But you and I we were on the same line. We both got them getting defensive linemen. However, I have them getting defensive end Sam Hubbard from Ohio State. Yes, they just re-signed Alex Okafor to a 2-year deal. He was having a solid year before tearing his ACL in week 10. But I feel like having Hubbard come in is going to give them a consistent pass rush. He's not a guy you expect to get 10-plus sacks year by year, but he is great at getting quarterback hurries. He's great at getting his hands on a quarterback, having him come in and line up alongside Cameron Jordan, or if he has to sit a little while behind Alex Okafor, it'll be interesting to see what he does. I know that he can be a dominant force for them, be huge in helping them out, at least draw some double teams for Jordan. All right, 28, Pittsburgh. I'm not going to let my biases show as much as my co-host here, but I'm going to try to make this quick. Pittsburgh Steelers with the 28th overall pick. I have them selecting safety Ronnie Harrison from Alabama. Now, what we all know about Alabama DBs, they like to hit. And Ronnie Harrison is one of the best hitters of any position in this draft class. After releasing Mike Mitchell, who wasn't doing that much for them anyway, I feel Harrison can come in and be a starter from day one. He and Sean Davis can be a very interesting safety tandem to watch. Sure, they still need to get some corners, but I feel right now Ronnie Harrison is the best bet you're going to get at safety. They also did bring in Morgan Burnett, but I feel like head-to-head, Harrison stands literally heads and shoulders over Morgan Burnett. But it'll be an interesting competition to see. Harrison adds in a little extra toughness to that defense that they're still going to need. You could easily say they need a linebacker, especially after the injury to Ryan Shazier, who all prayers to him. But they still need to work on their secondary. Your offense cannot be this great and have such a stark comparison in their defense. Their secondary is rough. If they could invest every pick in that secondary, I believe that they should. But as of right now, for 28, get Ronnie Harrison, shore up your defensive backfield, but get some tackles.
All right, I'm gonna try not to be biased again. Cough, cough. Y'all don't know my name. Cough, cough. Y'all can't stop the run. Ooh, I hate Steelers too. The Ravens still the other year. I'm a Browns fan too. But we agree as far as they need defensive help. But now, that guy that you said you had that nobody knew about, but I said I ain't coming to later round. This is when he coming to later round. I got them get Leighton Vander Esch. Linebacker of Boise State. They couldn't stop a running back in the phone booth last year. Leonard Fournette made them they B-words. Oh, my God. Oh, my God.
On two separate occasions.
A versatile linebacker. And when Ryan Shazier hurt, they definitely need a versatile linebacker. I can see this guy playing inside, and I can see him playing outside. But with the 28 pick, go ahead and get you a linebacker. Go ahead and, need some run stuffers, because, Baltimore got a good running back in Alex Collins. The Browns, we finna have Saquon Barkley, Carlos Hyde. You know what I'm saying? So, I feel like I'm forgetting someone.
Joe Mixon?
Yeah, I'm forgetting Joe Mixon. Joe Mixon's a good college quarterback. I believe he'll be good when he gets offensive line help.
Bro, so Joe Mixon, running back from Cincinnati. Gosh.
You're going to need linebackers. So, Leighton Van Ness, linebacker, Boise State, 20th pick. But moving on to the 29th pick, to the AFC champion runner-ups, you got the Jacksonville Jaguars. Now, the Jacksonville Jaguars always do a good job in free agency. Like, they are covered. Like, when I look at their team, besides Blake Bortles, they are covered. Like, they have the luxury of just selecting the best player available or just showing up. But with this pick, I got them going after Orlando Brown, offensive tackle, Oklahoma. Like I said, they have the luxury of just picking someone here. You can kind of help, Blake Bortles kind of keep pressure off of him. He's a little shaky when pressure gets to him. So this will help him keep the pressure off of him. He didn't have a good combine.
That's an understatement.
At all. But I can see him slipping all the way down to 29th. So I got them getting a value pick here. I got them going after Orlando Brown.
All right. I agree with you that their roster is pretty stacked. I mean, aside from, you could say Minnesota, there's no really other teams that don't, right, in Philly, like there's no one who really needs anything. But Jacksonville does have a slight discrepancy. As we all know, linebacker Paul Posluszny is retiring. So they need somebody to come in and fill up that middle linebacker spot. And the person I think can do that is Rashaan Evans, linebacker from Alabama. You knew he was coming eventually. He can come in, put him in a trio with Telvin Smith, which is one of the most productive tacklers in the league, and Miles Jack, who is one of the most versatile linebackers in the league. It'll be very interesting to watch. Now, sure, Evans is going to get overshadowed by those two guys because he's not as athletic, but he himself has compared himself to my Ravens linebacker, C.J. Mosley. And if you know C.J. Mosley, he is by far one of the best, if not the best, young linebacker in the league. So I'll be interested to see what he does in that defense. He's not afraid to tackle. He can get pass rush if it's necessary. I'll be interested to see the extra element he adds to an already astounding defense. All right, speaking of Minnesota, I have them getting cornerback Isaiah Oliver from Colorado with the 30th overall pick. Terrence Newman is not coming back. But still, even without Terrence Newman, they still have Mackenzie Alexander, Xavier Rhodes, and Trey Waynes on the roster. They're not clamoring for a cornerback, but it'd just be nice to have Isaiah Oliver. If necessary, he can just come in and be a special teamers and come in and dime packages at the start of his career. And then when injuries befall, or if Trey Waynes keeps playing as inconsistently as he's been, he can come in and be a starter. I like Isaiah Oliver. I felt like at the beginning of the draft process, he was top 3 corner. He may have slipped off a little bit for me after a subpar combine, but I still feel like when given the opportunity, he can shine.
Okay, cool. We agree. We agree on the position. There's different people. Minnesota does need offensive line help. They could go there, but I think nobody gave my boy from UCF any shine. I see them selecting Mike Hughes.
I had him at 10. If that's not shine, I don't know what is.
I think Mike Hughes is going to UCF. He's going to Minnesota. Like you said, Trey Waynes has been playing inconsistent. Terrence Newman is not coming back. I think you need someone to compare with Xavier Rhodes on the other side. And I think they get with Mike Hughes. He's just too interested to pass up. He's just too good to pass up here if he's sitting there at 30. Like I said, they do need offensive line help, but I think they need another corner. Why not? Because they got exposed last year, like against the Eagles. Like the Eagles ran through their damn defense like a knife going through butter. Like that was crazy. But moving on here to the AFC champions, the New England Patriots. The Patriots are a hard team to read because it's just like anybody that they put out there, they're going to do their job. They might not be the best, but they're going to do their job. So, with the 31st pick, I got the New England Patriots selecting Arden Key, linebacker, LSU. I just think they need linebackers.
Very much so.
They need linebackers. Their corners, they're going to be okay. Safeties, they're okay. Defensive line, they've never been the best, but they have playmakers. But I think here you get a linebacker who can stop the run because the Eagles ran through them too in the Super Bowl. So With this pick, I don't really have much to say about it. I think he's one of the best linebackers left on the board, so I got to point out the REG LSU.
Okay. See, I agree that they do need defensive help, but I think that they get an interior defensive lineman. I have them selecting Harrison Phillips from Stanford. Now, Harrison Phillips doesn't get a lot of love, and that's okay. Not a lot of defensive linemen do, but I feel like he needs to start getting love because he is the best interior pass rusher in this league. I mean, not league, but in the draft. Don't believe me? His junior season, he had 7 sacks. Second, in his senior season, 7.5 sacks in his last 2 team seasons at Stanford. That's very seldom that you're finding a defensive tackle, a pure defensive tackle, who's getting over 4 sacks 2 years in a row, not to mention over 7. So I think he's going to come in. He can start over Alan Branch because they really don't know what they're doing with him, or Malcolm Brown, who hasn't been the guy that they were looking for when they drafted him from Texas. He can come in, instantly be a starter, add much needed beef to their defensive line, and also stuff the run. It'll be interesting to see him in a Bill Belichick defense. And now, last and certainly not least, Super Bowl champion Philadelphia Eagles. I have them taking offensive tackle Connor Williams from Texas. The reason why? Jason Peters, all-pro left tackle, cannot play forever. And you can tell he suffered a major injury this past season, and they struggled a bit to replace him. And they're starting to see what life is going to be like when he's not there. Bringing in Connor Williams, he can come and learn from one of the best left tackles in the league. Or if necessary, if Lane Johnson were to go down, he can go play right tackle. He'd be an interesting addition to that offensive line. Help protect Carson Wentz when he gets back healthy. Help protect Jay Ajayi. He can do a lot of things on that offensive line. Sure's up. Not necessarily a huge need, but one that's going to become bigger, left untouched in the future.
All right, like you said, certainly last but not least, fly, Eagles fly with the 32nd pick. I think the Eagles with the 32nd pick. I think the Eagles make a no-fly zone. I think the Eagles booster their cornerbacks with the pick of Isaiah Oliver, cornerback, Colorado. I think he has the opportunity to come in and challenge for the number 1 spot or starting spot as a corner on the Eagles defensive back. I think they make a no-fly zone. The Eagles last year had something like they surprised me with their defensive backs. Last year at this time, I thought the Eagles defensive backs was one of their weakest points, but it hands down was most of their strongest points. So, but I think they bolster. I think they go younger. They lost Robinson. They lost Patrick Robinson. So I think they get Isaiah Oliver, cornerback, Colorado. That makes it a no-fly zone. But yeah, that concludes my picks. So you got it. I will post my picks, or I'll have Raven post my mock draft up there. But tell me what you think on the comment section. Raven, anything you got to say?
Nah, I think we've jam-packed a lot into this show. I think it was very productive. I think it just showed that you and I really do have a lot in common. Sometimes you can make good decisions when you want to. We just need to work on your ideas of these quarterbacks, and then we'll be all right. But thank you for tuning in to another edition of The X Report. We will see you next week. Please feel free to check out our website, thexreport.net. I repeat, thexreport.net. See, the reason why I keep saying it is because eventually I'm not even going to have to repeat it. You're just going to know to go there yourself. Also, check out our YouTube page or our SoundCloud page for exclusive content. Thank you so much for listening. Please feel free. Like, comment, subscribe, follow, all that good stuff. Thank you for checking us out, and we will see you again soon.